Welcome, dear friends, to another study of the Spiritist magazine. Here we are. I'm Shane Martin. I'm from the Spirit Society of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia. We are together one more time to learn from the superior spirits from the many articles of the Spiritist magazine. Every week we come together to look at the magazine, remind ourselves of this wonderful resource. I always like to encourage everyone to visit spiritistmagazine.org. The link is on the description, where you'll be able to find the link to the PDF version of the magazine, to the app stores and the Android and Google, to the Apple and Google products, or cell phones, tablets. We have both ways of seeing it. You can also talk about buying or purchasing a physical copy of the magazine. And this physical copy of the magazine is brought to you by the partner MagCloud, and it is at cost. So you're only gonna pay what it costs to produce a physical copy of the magazine. I just happen to have this one with me. That's the one that I use not only for studies but also for showing it to you. High quality publication. You can have it at your gospel home, at your Spiritist Center studies. And this happens to be the article we're going to be talking about today, that is about collaboration. And suffice to say that the Spiritist magazine is a most wonderful collaboration between the editor in chief, all of the volunteers. We are 100% volunteer based. The mentors of the magazine are the mentors of the hosts, the mentors of those who write, those who translate, those who revise, so on and so forth. So everything in life is collaboration. And today's article is titled Collaboration by the Spirit Meimei. So next is sharing with you, because sharing is caring. I'll share my screen with you, where you'll be able to see what the PDF version of the magazine looks like, at least on my computer. I have an Apple product, and just for reference, your computer may look different, your copy may look different. And for those who are listening, I am going to show a screen of the PDF. I'm going to browse through the different articles, and I'm going to go line by line so that we can delve deep into the teachings of Meimei today. Shall we start? So this article is titled Collaboration, and the spirit is Meimei, and the medium is Francisco Candido Xavier. Our thanks to them as I adjust the Zoom so we can read together. Our thanks to both Meimei and Chico Xavier for their work that allows us to be here today discussing this beautiful topic of collaboration. After all, the laws of society, as Kardec and the superior spirits remind us in the Spirit's book, because the laws are inscribed on your conscience. That's why I say remind us, because they're already there. Intimately, we know that we're supposed to work with one another. Without further ado, Meimei now. She says, quote, "No one accomplishes anything without the support of someone else. Think about it, and you know how to collect the needed help for the execution of the tasks that you are devoted. Collaboration and reciprocity." Let's think this through. Few sentences, so much meaning. Even the fact that we are here together today is the result of collaboration. Why? I can read the article to you, but I am not an engineer. I've not created the microphone that is right here, capturing my voice, transmitting it to the computer. I did not create the computer, the camera, the light, so on and so forth. So it's all about collaboration. The internet we're using to access, the magazine was put together by different individuals in the physical and spiritual plane. So it's all about collaborations. As we think through this, how we will know how to collect the needed help, we look around. Who are the folks who are around us? Who is coming to our Spiritist Center? Who got entrusted to be our family members and friends? Who are we spending 8 hours a day at work with? Those are the ones who are going to collaborate in fulfilling the duties that we have, the tasks to which we are devoted. In this case of you and I, the Spiritist doctrine. It says the tree protects its source, and the source feeds the roots. The soil shelters the seed, and the seed produces values that honor it. Help your companions in everyday life so they can help you in return. As we give of our resources, as we are here, someone gave their time and energy to design a beautiful product. Thank you to the engineers of Rode. I just happen to be using a Rode microphone. Wonderful way of capturing voice, making it pleasant to others, those who created the camera, so on and so forth. As we give to others in our lives of our talents, they're able to then flourish and give us back. Now, we're not saying, Meimei is not saying quid pro quo. We're not saying I give you so that I receive. But as I give, we build spiritual collaborations in the physical realm. And then when we are in need, those collaborations are established so that we can receive in return. They can give us back. So we're not doing so we can get, but as doing, we get from others as well. And all of these is because we are helping out of the goodness of our hearts, out of duty for others. She says, nobody materialized this or that idea without those who become resources of expression. And with the understanding that all of us, that means you and I, interconnected spirits working towards perfection on earth, our still growing beings do not expect for perfect relationships to fulfill your needs. And as we give and as we receive, we are able to better grow and understand one another. As we certainly fall short in our aspirations, in the way we speak, in the words we choose, the manner we interact with one another, then we learn and we grow and do better next time. Very important, as she says here, all of us interconnected spirits. So what do you think? What do you feel? What the thought images, the thought particles you emit, according to the book Thought in Life, Mechanism of Mediumship, are being spread around the universe and you're connected to like-minded folks. Like attracts like. We are interconnected. There is no such a thing, I did this by myself. You did not alphabetize yourself unless you're a savant or a genius. You did not build the roads you walk in, and not build the cars you drive on the roads. You're not building the schools. We depend on one another. We produce the food. Someone produces the food that you go to the grocery store for. Yes, it's from your labor at work that you provide the means to purchase those items. But even at work, you need to connect with one another for the goodness of that business. And on the earth, we are still full of business that are of lower nature aspirations, let's put it this way. But as we evolve, we start asking for social change, social impact, how what I do affect everything else on this Mother Earth. Not only we're interconnected, in one sentence, she gave us so much. We are working towards perfection. So that's the goal, to be better every day. Not just better in the sense I want to have a healthy diet, nutrition, exercise, look well, feel well, but better in what? The true spiritual values that matter. Because when we return to the spiritual realm, nobody's gonna ask us how many push-ups you did, how many times you went to the gym. That's important because that nourishes and maintains the physical body. How many times did you take your kids to museums, to activities? That's not going to be the marking, the delineation. It's going to be, did we move towards being better spirits? Are we cultivating the spiritual values as we see in the scale on question 100 all the way to 113, 16 of the Spirit's book. The spiritual values on those souls entrusted to us in ourselves that allow us to be one day the superior spirits that we need to be. Go look. You don't know what to work on? First of all, we have to know of ourselves, our tendencies, what we're good at, what we're not, what we're to work, who's around us, which environment am I in. That's well done through self-reflection, meditation, going to a therapist. But also you can go to the Spirit's book. Go over there. Good spirits. And all of those qualities, those are the things we have to work on. And especially if you're entrusted with the lives of the younger generation. If you have a Spiritist center, bring them to the Spiritist center so that they can learn these values when they are malleable, they are moldable. It's in gospel according to spirits, and the mission of parents is to bring the children closer to God. How do you do that? By imbuing the spiritual values in their life and when they're young, when they're receptive. And you came before them, so you make the decision to take them. It's not about them choosing. They can choose later when they are grown. And just as a neuroscientist aside here on a parenthesis, your brain's not fully developed until the age of 26, 25. So there's a lot of time for molding and building character, knowing how to interact with others, how to be kind, how to be compassionate, because we are interconnected and we are growing towards perfection. So now if you don't think it's still not concrete what I'm saying, go to the books of Andrea Luiz. Pick the mentors that are leading the expeditions to the earth, the guide Andrea Luiz who answers the questions. What kind of attitudes, thoughts, words, actions come out of those superior spirits portrayed on the Life in Two Worlds series? Compassion, kindness, and wisdom, knowing to wait the right time to say things, knowing how to choose what to do and what not to do, how to spend their time in valuable things. We're still yet to know more how to do this while we're incarnated, because we tend to focus on what's not important. Well, we're still growing, so no relationship is perfect. Not your soul, what we were sold from TV, that happily ever after. Your spouse is not perfect. You're not perfect. Our children are not perfect. Our colleagues are not perfect. The Spiritists workers are not perfect. So we will always need to work on ourselves and through interacting with others. She says, you always encounter people in the world who show failures with their mechanism of action. So she's going to give us examples. So we can always think about, do I know those individuals in my life? Or, as is more recommended, am I those individuals in someone else's life? Am I the one? So do I live, interact with, work with, spend time with people who are harsh, who are intolerant, or am I the intolerant one, the harsh one? Right? So we want to ask ourselves, how can we improve? So we can only improve ourselves. We can't affect others. So we ask ourselves, am I being the one who is showing these failures? The most important, not to get anybody depressed. It's not news to anybody. We are all imperfect spirits, growing towards perfection. Not to be discouraged, but to say, well, then I have to work on X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, and keep going. So now she's going to give us examples of those failures. Let's see if we fit the mold. It says, an individual holds sharp reasoning, but does not show refinement of sentiment, a lot of knowledge, logic, but unable to love one another. Another one has a generous heart, yet has not perceived the need of study. It's important to know, very important to study. It can be the goodness of my heart, but I'm not growing if I'm not studying. Another one communicates optimism and enthusiasm, but seems to delay manners in the practice of discipline. So we are talking and talking, but then we're not disciplined to study, to take care of ourselves, to do the duties, to do the work that is required of us, to grow the spiritual values, always about the spiritual values. Yet another person is a model of honesty, however, underestimates the value that courtesy may have on the productivity of the services in progress. We may be honest, but are we sharp with our honesty, with our truth of others? Or could we be more courteous towards others? She says, make big, a little bigger, a little small for our lives. She says, as being also in the condition of imperfect workers, that's us, take advantage of learning from other qualities and using patience on others' imperfections, observing that we are all in the process of evolution towards our future ahead. How many times we are not patient with others' imperfections or with our own imperfections, right? So we want to be learning from what we see, what to do. I like the way this person said this or interacted like this. I don't like this way. I like so we can learn from others as case studies. But we also want to make sure that we are patient when they show their failures. Because if I'm you should do unto others as Jesus said. As we wish for others to be patient with us, we are patient with them first. We don't wait for them, we go first. Imagine how the world would be if we all went first in kindness and patience and understanding. Probably already in the later phases of regeneration, right? We're still getting there. She says, remember that a stone is capable of bruising, but if founded in the right place during construction, it becomes an agent of sturdiness for the standing building. So it's all about the stone is a stone. There's no value, moral, intrinsic value, but it's what we do with it. So, what are the qualities that I have and how do I want to use them? The electric force is susceptible to generate destructive fires, however, if properly controlled, is a source of energy and light. So, it's all about what do I have? How can I give? How can I use what my talents, my abilities towards the good? How can I learn from every environment that I am at, every person who is with me? And then how can I be patient when inevitably we're going to show our failures, our shortcomings? How can I be patient when that happens? Because I wish that others were patient with us as well. Help all those brothers and sisters who cross your path, but especially those who support you. So instead of going to deliver food at a shelter, maybe we look for the folks around us who may be food insecure. Or we cook nutritious meals for our families and put the cell phones and tablets away and focus on being together. Or we find a co-worker in the spiritist circles who may be more isolated or have a change in life circumstances, so we go after them because they are here, they're close to us, they're supporting us. Not even God, this is something we don't think about, right? Not even God decided to be alone in the sustenance of the universe. For he chose his own children to participate with him in the works of creation. That's you. You are a child of God. Nobody is alone. God willed for us to be co-creators. At this point, co-creators in a lesser plane. By Andrea Louise in the book Evolution in Two Worlds. Jesus himself is a co-creator in a greater plane because he was capable of creating the earth, planning for it, caring for it, and has been doing this for over 4.5 billion years. What kind of patience is this with our shortcomings? To the point of creating a world that can sustain life as we know it, as the physical realm with the physical elements of the periodic table that we have, we created this kind of life because there's life in all globes in different ways. And Jesus himself, in the formation of Christianity that is increasing over the centuries, called 12 disciples and even from the 12. So even Jesus, when he came and incarnated on the earth, He chose 12. And then he sent them out to do his ministry. He did not do it alone. And the 12 that he chose, if you go back to the book Paul and Stephen, if you read the romances of Emmanuel, if you go to the New Testament, the 12 were just like you and I. He did not choose perfect archangels to be by his side. He could, but he chose 12 others to collaborate that are a reflection of what we are today. They're much more elevated now and moving on, but you can find yourself in stories of the gospel and see the incentive to change, to become better, because it's all about being together, being better together. Isn't that beautiful? And that's a collaboration between you and I in Kardec Radio. And there is um, this is from the book God Awaits by Meimei through Chico Xavier. And there's a study section at Kardec Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. And as always, we remind ourselves that you can go to spiritistmagazine.org, get the PDF, download the app, read on your own, meditate, bring it to your studies. You can find a way to write to the spiritistmagazine@gmail.com. You'll be able to get in touch with the editor-in-chief. There's a contact form. Share, like, subscribe, recommend, so that others can also receive this message of being interconnected spirits working towards perfection on earth. Knowing of our failures with these beautiful examples, knowing that even Jesus collaborated with others, so that every time I wake up, I thank God for the opportunity. And I go about my day living in the physical life that we have, with the physical and spiritual responsibilities that we have, but with the mindset of togetherness, of giving and receiving, starting with the ones close to us and expanding our circle of influence so that at all times we're serving, we're in connected with the good spirits, then we can serve more and more and more. Beautiful. What a blessing to be with you. It's always a great learning and a great opportunity to be here together. We do not take any second for granted. I hope that God will grant us many more weeks together. As always, God willing, I'll be back with you next week. Until then, stay well, stay safe, do the good, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.